Hi, Joshua.
Hey, Bruce, how are you?
Good. How are you? Good to see you here. And I'm so excited for today's interview.
Yeah.
Let me introduce you to our audience so that they know who you are and they will impress by it. I'm
Oh, okay, great.
guaranteeing.
Hello,
Yeah.
audience.
um, so Joshua Monge is a senior level SEO consultant in Eugene, specializing in teaching businesses how to SEO in their own websites. He wants to help businesses to optimize their websites to attract the right kind of traffic at an affordable price.
Yes.
What a beautiful, I must say, bio, because it's very succinct. It's very targeted.
I try to keep it simple. I mean, I have a lot of experience. I've done a lot of things, but it's what do people really need to know when they first hear about you? That's what I thought I should focus on. So I'm glad you like it. Thank you.
No, definitely. And, I am one of the moderators for the Clubhouse Marketing Club's room.
Yeah.
And you are one of the top moderators.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I want to see how you came up with that conclusion. Like, where's the scorecard? I enjoy being there. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Definitely. For me, the best part is everybody's unique approach in problem solving, and everybody has their own creative ideas and experiences. Because SEO is a difficult subject matter. Actually, there is no right or wrong or black and white, but there are always, but I don't mean that, black and white in a black hat or white hat.
Yeah, no, I get it. There's as one of the moderators says, it's all shades of gray. So
Oh,
because I mean the very idea, right? So we're trying to the search engines have a way that they operate and they want to do it themselves, but we're trying to help websites do better. And so the fact that we're even trying to like understand what the system wants and then give it what it wants, it's a little bit, there's no perfect white hat would be you don't care about search engines and you only do what you need to do on your website and you don't think about it. But nobody does that. That's really hard to be successful, to be found for keywords and concepts and ideas without some intentionality. So
yeah, exactly. So I would like to ask you some questions, actually.
okay, sounds
So
good.
how did you start as an SEO consultant? What led you to this way?
Oh my goodness. So I actually had a digital marketing agency about 15 years ago. What is it? 2007 is when I started. So that was my first attempt at running my own business. I did web design, a little bit of graphic design, a little bit of social media. It wasn't quite a thing then. And I just helped people kind of figure out how to put packages together. I usually worked with creatives or, graphic designers, coders, and I would be the middleman. So I would talk to the business. I would translate what the business wants to what these guys needed. I would translate what these guys need. And I was kind of the middle person. And eventually I took on too many people that were a little green on the creative side. And so the work started falling on my plate. So I had to teach myself how to do these things. And so one of the very first things I had to learn was how to code and code websites. And so I did basic code. I follow what they call semantic markup, where you basically use H1, H2 the right way, you use headers. And so I did semantic markup. And early on my websites, I would create them, and in a few months, they would start ranking. And so people were very happy because they're like, hey, I paid you to do this and it works. So that was good. But I didn't really have a strong idea of SEO, and I was managing multiple disciplines. And so through life, lots of things happened. And so I came back to SEO about 18 months ago, just at the beginning of COVID. I found myself in a career transition. And, for a lot of people, they were going online and there's a lot of competition. And I saw that as an opportunity to look back at what I did in the past and say, is there anything of value that I can bring now? I did have a formation of an SEO idea. And so I thought maybe this will work. And I started looking and researching, and my approach is a little bit different. I mean, nobody's really grabbed a hold of what I've done and done it that same way. And so last 18 months, I've been building a business. It's been very successful in a very short period of time. And
Congrats.
yeah, I love it. But like, I'm a process-oriented person, and I take a holistic approach, and I work with my clients. And so I'm definitely different in that the value is not just the end result, but it's also the process
Yes.
alongside. So I think that's what I've wanted to do, and there was a market for it, and it's working, and I'm keep getting referred. And then in fact, I was on a phone call earlier with a client that's referred me to somebody cold call to have me do some work. So it's been really fascinating, and I'm excited for it. So
well, many congrats in your new initiative, but I don't think that you are new to the subject matter, because you already done all the things necessary. And the best part in your story is you call yourself as a translator. In a way, you just say, I'm translating, and you are a translator actually, and nobody sees SEO in that way, because SEO is almost covering all the points in marketing, or all the points of business in a way.
yeah,
You have to be very purposeful, and you need to know what you're doing, and you need to do that in a system. So bringing a system and communicating different parts of the company or corporation to understand their approach, and then also to combine all different ideas and opinions and the processes, and then create something bigger than that. That's the essence of it. So that's really that's why actually SEO is a really hard business. It's not easy. It's not something that you just optimize writing too many content, or keyword research. Yes, there are parts of it, but at the same time, if you have no context, then they don't mean anything.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that's like the big differences is that taking a more holistic approach, because I think SEO has changed over the years, and there's been tactics that people have been doing that are kind of one note tactics that maybe worked at one point in time, but given that the search engines have increased the emphasis on these other components that they want to see, like good code, fast loading speeds, good keywords, good backlinks, to have a single strategy around one of those, it really underserves people. And with the sheer number of websites and people publishing and getting online, I mean, you really have to have a stronger strategy and be more intentional to make sure that you're paying attention to all these components. So it's been interesting.
Yeah, totally. Oh, so what are your expectations for the year 2022?
Oh my goodness.
Bingo.
I'm kind of excited. I think there's more emphasis on the user experience, making sure that websites are coded properly, page loading speeds, kind of those components. I think they're very important, and I think it's great that there's more emphasis on that. I secretly, I told someone earlier today, I like to help because I want to organize all the websites in the whole entire world,
Wow.
I would love everybody to have a website that runs efficiently, is found for what people are looking for, and it's organized.
Yes.
So that's my secret goal. And so I think for 2022, maybe we're taking one more step in that direction. So I'm excited for that.
Well, yeah, I mean, 2022 is going to be different, and there are new components, and also and you never know what Google will bring. It's surprisingly, this 2021, Google made lots of updates, algorithm updates, and everyone was sometimes they are shocking and sometimes they're expected, because Core Web Vitals has known for such a long, almost a year,
Yeah.
and then it just, slowly
Well,
brought to
yeah.
light. And
I think
yes.
it's interesting because I don't think most people, like people that are in this space, I don't think they're generally caught off guard. Like, it's the train that Google usually says, hey, we're gonna bring a train to your station.
Oh
Be
yeah.
ready for it. And everybody's like, well, is it here now? No. Well, then we'll worry about it when it gets here. And then the train's like 5 miles away, and there the
Yeah.
train's coming, and people are like, is it here now? No. Well, then we'll worry about it later. So then the train is here, and then they're like,
Oh
where
my
what are we doing with this train? What do we do? It's like, we told you a couple times that we were bringing a train in. So
yeah, that's all surprises. um what are the most common SEO problems that your clients ask for help? Is there any special category that you can talk about, or it's general?
yeah, I think I actually have a pretty diverse client base all across the United States. I'm working with a celebrity chef. I'm working with a social media influencer. I'm working with 2 research universities, a college,
Uh-huh.
consultant, a manufacturer, education. So I'm doing all kinds of things. And I think what a lot of them are asking for is, how do I understand what SEO is? How
Uh-huh.
does it fit in my broader marketing strategy? And then how do I hire somebody efficiently? Or how do I get my team to do this? Because there's, I don't know. It's funny that we do the Clubhouse SEO fundamentals. I normally would not be caught dead hanging out with other SEOs because I it's a very challenging field, because there's people that make lots of money
Yeah.
by not letting their clients know certain things or how things are done. And I just don't operate that way. So with the SEO fundamentals, it's great because I mean, everybody there, they share, they
Yeah.
talk about it. And, there's not this feast or famine kind of idea. There's plenty of work to be done. And
Yeah.
so let's all just bring our different unique backgrounds and experience and do that. So for me, a lot of the clients that I get, it tends to be about half of them, they've tried other people, they've tried other things, it hasn't worked, they're frustrated.
Yeah.
um, Kind of like working on your car, they think you can do it if you had the right tools and the right training and understanding. But at some point in time, you do need to hire somebody to kind of help you get through that, or really take on certain tasks that your company can't, or your culture can't. So I think I get a lot of people that have tried other people before, didn't work, and I've been referred to them. The other one is, a lot of people want to know, how does this work? Not that they want to become experts in it, but they need to know enough that they can hire the experts, whether that's or build up somebody in their team, and they make that decision. So they want to know how it works, and I get to show them and help them on that journey. So very exciting.
Yeah, I think, in your bio, you just said, I want to help other businesses and learn how to do SEO. So in that sense, you are on the right trajectory. And this is something that, I mean, so many clients are after, because they want really honest and direct people, and they want, you know, um, really someone who takes care of their business, because at the end of the day, it is their business they're handing to you, and they are, just kind of asking you, hey, please just make it right and just help us.
Yeah.
So because as you said, I mean, there are also many unwanted people, or
Well, there's a lot of people too that like, I know SEO, and it's like, what do you
yes,
know? You
yes,
know that
exactly.
you might know a tactic, or you might know some of the tactics, but the strategy, the reasoning, the rationale, what pieces to move, it, there's a wide, let's just say there's a lot of people in there with varying levels of understanding and ability. So yeah, it's a very crowded market space, I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
it's a very crowded market. It's very challenging. So as you know, I'm a startup advisor. So being a startup is challenging, and also trying to use SEO is at the same time challenging because they don't have enough budget, or they don't have enough personnel or to help them. What is your advice? How can a startup how can they just try to adjust themselves, not really do, I don't know, it's
No,
complicated.
no, I totally get it. I think, there's a SEO is definitely a long-term strategy. So for a startup, usually you're trying to figure out fulfillment, you're trying to get orders, you're trying to standardize some of these things, you're trying to bring staff on board, you're trying to get funding. And so you kind of have the like main piece of running your business and figuring all that out. And so SEO is one of those things that's like, oh, I can figure it out later. But then you don't want to be 6 months to a year down the road and realize you did nothing to lay the groundwork for it. So I think where SEO could help with startups, and this is advice I give everybody, no matter what your stage is ultimately figuring out what are you selling, who are you selling it to, and how are you going to make that happen. And so if you know what you're selling and who you want to sell it to, then when you create your website, you want to create it in such a way that you're being mindful of how
Yes.
people search and what people are looking for. So you might talk about products and do like a pain solution model, where here's the pains you're experiencing and here why we're the solution. And then you make people aware, oh, okay, I didn't know this was a problem, and now I know there's a solution. That's great. Put some words and terminology around that, or create a services page that talks about it in that way. Lay some of that groundwork and get some of that basic SEO in place. So in 6 months, when you have a chance to actually do optimization, you've already built some history or some authority with your content, around some of those concepts and words that you might in the future need some of that traffic. So
Yeah.
I think that could be very helpful, and being very intentional about how you're spending your time marketing, and know that SEO, if you go through that process, it should help inform some of your marketing strategy, because you're going to look at competitors, you're going to look at keywords, you're going to look at their backlinks, and then you want to integrate some of that into your strategy, because they've already plowed some of those roads. So use some of that information to help your business get a leg up there.
Yeah, exactly. The last startup that I'm helping, what I'm doing is, because they are just at the beginning, and so we need to create content, but we need to be very careful about what type of content we are creating, because whom we are reaching out. So the best thing that I found helpful is the keyword research, because when you do the keyword research, first you find the competitive keywords and whether you can join the competition, and also you find your competitors. So there's two dimension actually for the keyword research: your competitors and your competitive keywords. These are all, if you do it at the beginning, then you make sure that where you want to go and how you want to do that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, so many, as you said, startups, they are not aware of it, or SEO is a kind of a growth strategy. So when a year later they try to do that, this is just become sometimes a nightmare.
Yeah.
With the redirects and with a whole website change, messaging changing, content changing, you just lost what you have done so far.
Yeah.
Years, whole efforts and money.
Or if you think about it too, it's like, you have 6 months. I mean, SEO depends on how aggressive you do it and the competitiveness and all that. But usually about 3 to 6 months is a window that you can expect to see something happening. So if you decide a year into your business to start focusing on it, it's still 3 to 6 more months that you're waiting now to get results.
Exactly.
So it's a challenge, but I definitely think with the startup phase, there's definitely certain things you have to get solidified, get
Yeah.
those figured out, and then I would work SEO in incrementally until you can engage, you know.
Yeah, you say incrementally,
Yeah,
that's true. Just, small steps, but
yeah,
steady and consistent. So that's what we are after, actually.
that's
So
awesome.
what are the best tools to use for SEO analysis? For as different analysis of SEO, because there are too many tools out there. Sometimes it's just mind blowing, and you don't know which one is the correct one. Of
Yeah.
course, I know
Or-
what you're gonna say. Can I say it for
Go
you?
ahead.
It depends.
See, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like asking which is better, like metric or the other, I forget, like when it comes to measuring, it's like metric, like what everybody in the world uses, or the American system. It's
Yeah.
well, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. So, I think the best advice for that is basically like pick a tool and then stick with that tool and then measure everything by it. So if, they say this is an inch, then use that same measurement, everything you do. So, because we like in the SEO fundamentals, we get questions all the time. Well, I looked on Ahrefs and it says this, and I looked on Moz and it says this, and I'm
Yes.
trying to figure out why there's a difference. They have their own system of coming
Yeah.
up with how they come up with things. So, um, find a tool, stick with it. If you're unsure, then know that if you're going to run two tools at the same time, just keep each tool on its own shelf. Just know that it's like a funnel that you're using in the kitchen. It's like you've got your funnel for your kitchen to put your herbs in the small bottles. Fine, don't take that to the car and put oil in it and you start putting oil in your car with it. Use the funnels or use those systems that you create. Keep them separate and just kind of know what each is doing. I think that'll give you a better sense. And I think the other thing is just don't get caught up in the details of it. I mean, the details are important, but there's this kind of hierarchy, kind of overall what's happening. So whether you lose a rank one day or the next, like I I mean, if your business depends on that, then yes, you definitely need to hyper focus on it. But for most people, there's an ebb and flows in ranks. So just be okay with that. Find tools that give you the higher level order stuff that you need to fix and that you need to work on, and that you're comfortable with. There's so many people. I know I'm not answering the question in a very like non-specific way, but
No, no, go ahead.
it also depends on your personality too. Some people like the interfaces with the colored screens and limited data, and some people love the data and the numbers. So um I just go with, there's enough tools and resources out there to find the right tool that's going to fit for you, that's
Yeah.
going to give you the basic information. Embrace that. And I would also strongly recommend, and this is my bias of course, is hire a consultant for a short period of time
Uh-huh.
to teach you some of this stuff or kind of walk you through some of your options, or get some feedback. I think even if you're going to buy, like if you're going to buy a car, you're going to do some research, you're going to figure that out, and eventually you're going to go talk to somebody that knows how those cars work or how they drive. I think you should do the same thing with SEO, is talk to some people that use these different tools, figure out what you like and don't like, and then find something that works for you.
Yeah. It's a market research in a
Yeah.
way. Uh,
Yeah.
um, at the same time, Google Search Console and Google Analytics are in a way, the foundational tools,
Yeah, and I
right?
I tend to skip past. I always just, it's
No,
like
with the Clubhouse, you always say Google
I
Search Console. So
know. Well, because
I
that's
know.
SEO fundamentals. But yeah,
Yeah.
but I do have so when I do an intake, that's one of the first questions asked, like, do you have analytics? Do you have Search Console? And the answer 9 times out of 10 is no. So I'm like, well, let me put that on there. Yeah, like you said, analytics shows you what's happening on your site and it starts the day you put it on. Search Console is kind of Google's version of what they see your site is doing. And so
Yeah.
having both of those, I mean, yeah, on a very beginner, like basic level, that is enough information to help
Yes.
inform a strategy that
Yeah.
you could just live off of those and not hire a consultant and not hire, you know, I'm just saying, because, if you're trying to watch your cash, there's enough information on there to get you started. So
Yes, yes. So how do you approach link building and influencer marketing?
oh yeah, this is a struggle for, I think, a lot of SEOs, and it's one of the areas that I kind of break ranks. So for me, I think backlinks are great. I understand why they're important. I understand that they're needed, but the tactics and strategies to get it, um, there's just too many actors in that arena that take shortcuts, and it's a pay to play option. They don't
Yeah,
tell you exactly what they're doing. There's just too much of a gray kind of, I don't know what's happening. So I think for me, the strategy that I work with the backlinks is, or back link building, is to go higher up in the marketing playbook and say, what partnerships do you have already? What relationships do you already have offline, or maybe as some sort of informal online connection? Why don't you formalize those? So I have a manufacturer that is they do wholesale, they do end user deliveries, they also do OEM. And so, okay, who are your distributors? Who are your applicators? Like, how do we build connections with them? What resources could we build on your website that they would want to link back to and make that connection? I have that celebrity chef. She has some really cool party ideas and some really cool recipes and those kind of things. Great. What are some pieces of content that we can put out there that people are so excited about that they are going to link to it and
yeah,
build connections? And so, if you're in her area, there's a resource that she has that people connect to it because they're like, man, that's the go-to thing to do while you're in this area. So I really try to work on that broader marketing. What's some of those
yeah,
connections we can make and do that. And then the other piece to it is like press releases are great as far as trying to get media interested in your site, in those sites. But then you have to like chase those down. So you need to follow up with emails, phone calls, those kind of things.
yeah, exactly. When we had AffMeter, what we have doing is we were consolidating all affiliate network analytics, statistics, everything into one dashboard. So whenever we have new network included in AffMeter, normally what we do, we just go and talk with the network and created a co-press release, and then when they are published in our platform, then we will at the same time do the PR. And it just brought a lot of people to AffMeter, and that's how people get to know AffMeter after our initial launch. So that was crucial, and that was so valuable. So I always go with that practice, and also create relationships, just meet with other people and learn from them. And at one point somebody knows you, or somebody want to connect with you, and then you can create some other link building practices, just guest posts. Or I know that guest posts are not as hot as a couple of years ago, but
Yeah.
still guest posts are valuable because you show your authority. So in that sense, authority is very critical.
Yeah, and I think influencer marketing definitely follows on like, there's some cross section with like search engine marketing and social media. I think those kind of tie together really tightly. So you create a piece of content, then you need to share that out to the different channels and to different people. And the internet is a very big place, and there's people that kind of coalesce around different ideas or different concepts or different passions. And so if you have something that you can bring to them and say, hey, what do you guys think of this? Then they can, oh cool, we like that, yes, let's link to you, or let's promote you. And if they don't, then maybe, maybe you need to change what you're doing. But yeah, I think it needs to be, I mean, the overall idea with marketing, right, is to raise awareness of a product or brand or the solution that it provides. And so I think influencer marketing, if you connect with people that are liking to raise awareness about these different things, connect with those folks, that could be very helpful. But yeah, it's interesting. There's so many, I don't know about you, but I get like 100 emails a day from everybody telling me that they're going to do what I do better.
Oh.
And I'm like, you didn't even read my website. Like, you should know that I have no value for what your proposition can be. It's like, I will put you on these 10 websites. I'm like,
Yeah, what are you meaning? It's just,
yeah,
it just doesn't anything.
yeah.
It doesn't anything to do. So do you have any suggestions or any piece of information that you want to share before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I would love to advocate for is, if you're going to engage in SEO, you need to understand, if you're a client or a business, that it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you energy. And so be prepared to know what that cost is going to be, and then understand how SEO works. So what are some basic mechanics? Because you don't want to pay an SEO person that's like, I'm going to put you on the top of Google, just give me $1,000 and I'm going to run ads for you. Well, that's pay-per-click advertising. That's not SEO. So you should be able to know that. Also, if you're hiring an SEO provider, they're like, we're never going to touch your website, but we're going to SEO your website. That doesn't work. So know how SEO works, what the mechanics are, just a basic level. So that way, when you do engage with somebody, you know what you're going to get. And then I would hold them accountable to those returns and to that process. So that would be my recommendation. It's not, it can be this magic black box that you're like, I hope it works. Let me throw money at it and see if it happens. But I think this day and age, there's just more accountability and responsibility that needs to be given to kind of everyone that's doing it. And so I would say, take a little time, a little energy. Like, you have to do your financials. If you're a business, you have to understand enough to know what the bookkeeper's doing, so they don't take a trip to Tahiti with your money. Same thing with the SEO, is make sure that you're not paying somebody that's taking a trip to Tahiti saying they're taking care of it.
So how can, if somebody want to reach out to you, how can they reach out to you?
They can go to my website, waymakerseo.com. They could Google my name or my business. They should be able to find me.
Awesome.
Yeah, and hopefully you put a link on your site to site. That'd be great. Yeah.
Definitely.
And if they have questions, come to the Clubhouse SEO Fundamentals Room, Tuesday, 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Would love to talk to people there too.
Exactly. It was a pleasure to talk with you, Joshua. I hope to see you soon.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.